Good morning, everyone. It is 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. You are so excited to be joining me I'm just telling you that you're excited, whether you are or not, for our latest edition in our Listing Mastery series, which is how to sell the listing and leverage the listing, and 14 amazing strategies that will put you on the track to sell 100 plus homes a year each and every year. So I'm Brendan Bartic with Brendan Bartic Real Estate Coaching, where our mission is to train the most elite real estate agents and coaches on earth. I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Anna McKeel, who makes the whole movie magic happen, all of the slides. Anna, if you could take a second to share with the group how to make the best experience out of this webinar, and then we'll jump right into it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brendan, and welcome everyone. I'm so happy to have you guys here on this month's free agent webinar. I'm Anna McKeel, as Brendan said, and I'm going to be here every step of the way. I am joined by my colleague, Lindsay Carter, and we are here to support you in this experience. So a couple of reminders. This webinar is being recorded, and we will deliver the recording to you within 48 hours of this session ending. So no worries. Grab your camera, get your notes out, but you will get a recording so you can watch this information over and over so that you can become a master at leveraging the listing. Now, if you have any questions, I'll be in the chat box sharing links, providing answers to questions you have. And Brendan and I have also built out a couple of minutes at the end of the session to answer your questions. So if you have an opportunity, stick around and chat with us. We'd love to help you with your business and clarify anything that we're going over in the presentation today. So without further ado, let's kick it off, Brendan.
Excellent. All right. Well, as she said, if you have questions, raise your hand, come off of mute. We'll try to address them as we go on. Sometimes when I go into sharing the slides, I can't see the entire, everybody's little celebrity square. So don't think we're ignoring you. Hopefully we'll see you in the chat box or something like that, and we'll address your questions. So let's get into it. Now, as we start this out, a couple of things we have to discuss first of all is making sure that once we secure a listing, from the second we're starting at the listing presentation, we're already setting an expectation of what we're going to do to market that listing. And then behind the scenes, we're looking at it as agents going, how are we going to have a win-win here? We're going to win and get the seller the highest amount possible. But at the same time, I'm going to win by being able to receive additional marketing, buyer leads, additional sellers that see my marketing that want to sell their property because they saw how I listed this property. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Everything that I've learned over the last 20 years to sell over $1 billion of residential real estate, those tips, strategies, and kind of the behind the scenes. So we're going to pull back the curtain and jump right into it. All right, so we're going to start off here. Let me get our slides going. All right, perfect. So you have the listing, now what, right? So you've taken the listing, you had an amazing listing presentation, and now you have the listing. So here's what most realtors do. Either we have an issue with, again, overpricing. So we go in, we price the property at a price that the seller wants us to price it at, which is not a realistic price that's going to cause it to sell. We have unrealistic expectations, and we're going to talk a lot about those expectations today, where you come in, you meet with the seller and you go, you know what? I'm so excited to get your house listed. I'm going to have it active on the MLS in the next 24 hours. So you have unrealistic expectations, things go wrong, the sign's not delivered, photography's not on time, and you deliver a product to the seller that they're so disappointed in that they start lighting you up left and right because it's not on Zillow. They can't find it on realtor.com. You forgot to mention that it had 2 fireplaces instead of 1. So a lot of what I'm going to try to teach you today is how to set yourself up to be a hero in the eyes of any seller you're working with, instead of running around like a chicken with your head cut off. All right. So how to communicate showing feedback effectively. And this is a huge piece that I see agents just really make it hard on themselves. And then make sure you know how much should you be spending on every listing? What does that marketing budget look like? How much should you be investing to get that property sold? And then of course, a lot of realtors try to do it all by themselves and they don't have leverage. And we're going to talk about how to do some simple, easy leverage today to make this a much more fun process. So All right, so strategy number one, and this is probably one of the biggest ones that I see the mistakes on, is we start the marketing plan at the listing appointment. So this is our transition to close sheet, which we have available on our private Facebook page, Brendan Bartic Real Estate Coaching. And this is probably one of the most powerful pages I have when I'm working with a seller to make sure that when I transition from the conversation of, okay, now here's what we're going to do to get your house sold, here's what I need to do to make sure that it's a successful transaction. And we just kind of take an order when utilizing this sheet. So when we start doing this, we start to take this order and we start talking about inclusions, exclusions, open houses, showing instructions. What I'm really doing here is I'm just setting up a calendar that's going to make my life very easy moving forward. And we're going to show you how this entire calendar works. So if I was working with a seller, and if you've been to one of our listing mastery seminars, and we have some coming up, as we get to the final 2 pages of our listing presentation, we have one page that talks about how to prepare for photography, and the other page talks about how to prepare for showings. And I pull this beautiful little sheet right out of my binder, out of my pad folio, and I go, great. So now for showings, we want it to be light, bright, and smelling right. And I give them some instructions. That's not this class on how to do all of those things. And then I go right into going, Susie, John, which one of you would like to be the first point of contact for all showings? And then I start taking the order. And then this leads to a very easy closing that just basically goes, here, I need you to sign this and we're moving forward, because I've already taken care of everything else ahead of time and set the standard. So you need to get comfortable with this type of sheet. A, it makes you look like a professional. And B, as far as getting the listing sold, it's going to give you every piece of the puzzle to make sure that this is the easiest process. Now, here's a pro tip I want you to think about. For any of my sellers that live in the property, I have about an 80% success rate on having them leave the home for the opening launch weekend for the entire weekend. And what I mean by that is I always explain to my sellers, look, it would be a great idea. We're going to launch the listing on Thursday afternoon. It's going to hit all the websites by Friday. You know, what I'd love to do is have most of my sellers head out of town and then come back Sunday after 5 p.m., enjoy the weekend, have a great time, go somewhere fun, because I'm going to be trying to funnel as many human beings through this property in our open house extravaganzas as possible, if you're doing open houses. Now, if you're doing a condo and you're not going to do an open house or anything like that, I still want them gone over that opening weekend, because I want to be able to have free access to the property. I don't want to have to deal with showings, dogs, cats, kids, screaming, whining, smells, all of this. I want to have a perfect launch. And I think agents don't realize, a lot of agents just try to work around the seller and go, oh, you want to stay in the house and sit at the kitchen table during the showings? That's fine. That's not fine. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. So we have to be honest enough and brave enough to explain this process to the seller. Have them leave the property. Okay. All right, strategy 2, delivering the promise. Now, in leveraging our listing, I want to leverage every listing to accomplish 2 things from my seller. 1, a 5-star review on Zillow, Yelp, Google, depending on what your focus is, a 5-star review. And I want them to refer someone to me that would be interested in buying or selling real estate. So when I meet with the seller, I deliver the script, which is called the promise, which we provided for you here. And I just explained to them, I say, Anna, you know what? One of the things that I do that's very different than most of my competition is I deliver on what I call the promise. So I promise that I'm going to deliver the most exceptional real estate experience to you on earth. Now, throughout this transaction, myself and my team, if you have one, now you should always say you have a team, even if you're a solo agent, you have an inspector and a title rep and a lender and all of that. You have a team if you realize it or not. Myself and my team are going to be checking in with you to make sure that we're delivering on that experience. Now, John, Susie, if things go sideways at any time, I want to make sure that we're addressing them, and then I'm correcting it, fixing it, and making sure I'm still delivering on that exceptional experience. Now, At the end of the transaction, we're high-fiving, we're popping bottles, it's the best time ever, and I've delivered on this promise, I'm going to ask you to do two things for me. Number one, deliver me a provide me with a 5-star review on Zillow. And number two, refer someone else that you know to me that I can deliver this same level of exceptional service to. Does that sound fair? And they always nod and they go, yeah, yeah. I mean, who doesn't want the most exceptional real estate experience on earth? But what I've done is I've done a mental contract with them that they're going to deliver on these two things for me at the end. Not a 4.7, not a 4.3 star, a 5-star. Okay. So then we have 3 touch points during the transaction to check in on this. We're going to check in at the listing appointment once we're under contract and the day before closing. Now you can structure this a different way. Some people check in after the appraisal. Some people check in after we get past inspection. You can play around with this to make sure you're checking in. And all 3 times of those check-ins, you can ask for the referral right then. You don't have to wait till the end. So, hey, I just wanted to check in. I know we got past inspection. I'm so glad that all worked out. Hey, I know we talked about, you referring someone to me that, once we deliver this exceptional experience. Well, while I was thinking about it, do you happen to know of anybody now? And you could plug it right then. And they'll give you people right at that second that they know. Okay. Because think about it. If you're selling a home, you're talking to everybody about selling a home. So you're starting to talk about it. And people are going, well, I'm thinking about selling. I'm thinking about selling. I'm thinking about selling. So it just creates that buzz. Okay. So strategy number 3, this one sounds like a no-brainer, but it's the one that's screwed up the most, is price it accurately the first time. When you go in and deliver your market analysis, you have a price that you know this property will sell at in 24 hours. Not what you're guessing it'll sell at in 6 months, 3 months, 2 weeks, maybe it'll sell, I don't know. What is the price that you know if you listed this home at, you'll have multiple offers, buyers, and people lining up to purchase this home in 24 hours? That's the price you want to be starting, or that you want to be leading with when you're with that seller. That's the biggest difference here. Is I see agents go in and they feel like it's a meeting of the minds on what this property should sell for. I'm sorry, you're a professional. That person hasn't sold a house in 7 years. Should they heavily be involved in the pricing of the home? No. You're there to explain to them a price that's going to cause the home to sell. And then when they tell you that they want $100,000 more because their buddy Joey, who's the neighborhood expert on properties because he studies Redfin every day on his side job of being a mechanic, told them that he should sell it for $100,000 more, they believe him. You can't just agree with them. Now, I know the market's been amazing and this hasn't affected so many of us. It's slowing down. We're seeing showing time double already, triple in certain cases. We're seeing this transition. So now you have to start getting really well versed at these conversations, right? So make sure we price it right. All right. So talking about pricing things right, Anna, what do we have coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So today we officially launched our next date for Listing Mastery. It's a live event in person with Brendan. It's a 1-day event and tickets are now live. And because you guys have attended this webinar, we're giving you $25 off when you purchase an executive or a VIP ticket. So Lindsay has put some information in the chat box. Go ahead, check the link out. We've got a virtual experience and we have an in-person experience. So depending on your level of comfortability, maybe you're out of state, anything like that, we've got every option you can imagine as far as joining us on October 28th for Listing Mastery. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Anna. All right, so strategy 4, and this is a huge one. This is huge. We have to set the expectation. If you're going to be selling, maybe you don't want to sell 100 homes a year. Maybe you want to sell 20, 25, 30, whatever the number's, 10. But you want to be a listing master and you want to feel confident and you want to feel like you are in control the entire time. I have agents that call me crying because a seller yelled at them. If you're getting yelled at, or you feel like you're not delivering, or you're nervous to pick up the phone to talk to your seller, you haven't done anything wrong. You just don't have the system down right. It's just a system that we have to get specifically done. So When we talk about setting the expectation with the seller, right out of the gate, we see that the wording as soon as possible is never utilized, okay? What we're doing is if I take a listing today, and today is Tuesday, if I take a listing anytime past Monday at 9 a.m., then I don't list that property until the following week. Because I want to do a number of things that are going to help me and the seller have a win-win situation. So just think in your mindset, if you ever take a listing just on a Monday, you should never take it active until the entire following Thursday. And here's what I mean by that. So if I was role playing this, I'd say, all right, so Anna, you know what? Let's talk about the calendar next. So with today being Tuesday, what I'd like to do is we talked about some of the things that you wanted to address with the property and get the boxes in the garage and move some things in the, make sure that there was plenty of room down in the basement. And I know we have the handyman coming over to meet with you to fix that one doorknob and whatever it is. So we'll have the entire weekend to get that all taken care of. What I'd like to do is have photography set for next Tuesday. Our coming soon sign will go up in the next 48 hours. And again, we have a professional company that comes and make sure that they don't hit a water line. So if you see somebody in your yard, don't worry about it. They're supposed to be there, right? So we'll start getting those coming soon calls and getting everybody excited for our launch next week. So we'll have photography on Tuesday. On Wednesday, by end of day, I'll be able to send you over a preview of what the property is going to look like on the MLS. I would love for you to take a look at it. Make sure you like the write-up, confirm everything. You know, again, you've lived in the property longer than I have, obviously, right? So I want you to let me know, if we happen to miss a fireplace or something, take a good read over it and let us know. I want it to be perfect for when we launch it on Thursday next week, okay? Now, when we launch it on Thursday, we do that for two reasons. Number one, we know it's statistically when the most agents and buyers set their showings for the weekend. And number two, we know that on most of the major websites, it can sometimes take 24 hours to populate onto all of the websites like Redfin, Zillow, realtor.com, whatever it is. So we want to make sure that it's hitting all those websites by end of day Friday. Does that make sense? Now, everything I just did there, you might say, well, whatever. I just made myself look like a professional, right? Professional. If you go to the doctor and he was just like, so when do you want to do the surgery? What are you thinking, right? Doctor's not going to ask you when you want to have surgery. He's going to tell you a whole bunch of things that make sense that you have to do in order prior to said surgery. Think about yourself. You're a listing surgeon, right? Be surgical with this and be smart the same exact way, okay? So Friday, we're gonna go live. You can go live on Friday, live on Thursday afternoon. It just has to be live by Friday morning, right? Again, we were just trying to make sure we give yourself enough time. Then Saturday and Sunday, if available, we're gonna have a back-to-back open house extravaganza, right? I'm leveraging those open houses because I'm going to get buyers and sellers from every open house I host. And I'll explain how we do that. And then Monday, I'm going to set an expectation with them that I'm going to provide them feedback. The reason for Monday, if I tell them when I'm going to provide them feedback, and I explain this correctly, so you know what, Connie? So just to make sure you understand, once we launch the listing and we have these amazing open houses, now you're probably going to want to call me and ask me what happened and all of this. The best way to handle this is for me to update you Monday morning when I consolidate all of the feedback. Some agents don't call me back from the showings. I have to hunt them down. So why don't we go ahead and do this? I will call you between the hours of 11 and 12 on Monday, and I'll give you the full rundown. Now, if we have offers, we'll talk about offers. If we have multiple offers, I'll talk about that. And if we don't have any offers, we'll talk about the next steps that we need to take to make sure that we get offers. Fair enough. So look forward to my call between 11 and 12 on Monday morning. So now I've just bought myself my weekend back instead of how was the open house? How was the showing? How was the open house? How was the showing? How was the open house? That way I can either enjoy my weekend or do more lead gen, sell more houses, and build a pipeline. Do not let a listing rule your life. Let the listing leverage your life so you can build a big business. That's all we're trying to do here, okay? So That's the setting the expectation. So strategy 5, use professionals, okay? You know, if you're doing just listed postcards and flyers, do nice cards. Make sure you're doing professional YouTube videos, social media. This listing is a way for you to present yourself to the world to show the quality of work you do to attract more listings. Every listing I do, I'm creating a sample resume for when I go on the next appointment. Oh, yeah, look at this virtual tour we just did for this property I just sold at XYZ. Oh, look at this, look at that. 90% of the marketing you're spending is not to sell the house, it's to impress future sellers, to show them the quality of work you do to get these homes sold. Make sure you get that right in your head, okay? And then you don't want to have to go back and have it done again, right? If you hire someone cheap or you do something, you know, not up to snuff, normally what we see happen is you have to go back, redo the entire thing anyway, and it costs twice as much in the long run. So use professionals. Now, pro tip here, I get a lot of questions about staging, okay? So a lot of questions about staging. Now, when I'm talking about with staging, what we deliver to our clients is a free staging consultation. So we have a stager on staff, and there's plenty of stagers out there that'll do this, that we pay $100, $200, I don't know. I think ours is $200. I think we pay her $200 for her to go meet with our sellers, have a consultation with them. She's super nice. We've talked her and scripted her through what to say and how to handle this whole thing. She works with them. And then if they decide they want to do staging, they work it out with her and then they pay her directly. So we're never on the hook for the staging. 9 out of 10 times, they don't even need anything. They just love the fact. And here's the other reason I do it. It saves me time. Am I an interior designer? Am I a stager? Nope. I am a real estate sales professional. So why wouldn't I leverage that piece out so I don't have to sit there and talk about, well, Brendan, do you think this drapes look right? Should I change the carpet? I go, that's an excellent question. That's why I have a state certified stager on staff. She's phenomenal. I'm going to have her meet with you. She's going to take all the time in the world to make sure that this thing is perfect for all the buyers and for our photography. So what works for your schedule? Tomorrow at 10 or Saturday at 4? Okay. I always schedule the stager's time right away and then go back and reschedule it because I don't know what her schedule is. I just make it sound like I do, right? That's what I always setting the stager right out of the gate because they're like, oh, he's got a stager on speed dial. I don't know what her schedule is. And then we call back and we go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. She's not available until, and the sellers are always like, no problem. Remember, everything is a presentation. Everything is psychological here, and everything takes a rhythm to make sure you progress to a successful signature. That's what we're looking for, especially in that presentation. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I really hit on that. People are like, man, Brendan's intense today. Chill out, bro. Okay, all right, so use a professional. Don't be a cheap dirtbag. Okay, 8 ways to leverage the listing. This is what we want to talk about. This is where you get the marketing nutritions. I don't know even what I'm saying today. The marketing pluses from doing this. So when we take a listing, we do it in this order. We'll post a sneak peek, right? So, hey, we got this sneak peek. We take one photo. It's going to be coming out. Then you have a separate posting on all your social media for coming soon. Then when it hits the market, just listed. Then your open house extravaganza. Then when you've accepted an offer, congratulations, my sellers just accepted an offer on this beautiful home. It's amazing. Da, 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 da. Now, I know agents that take this even further that will do past inspection, past appraisal, clear to close. You can do all of that. I think it gets a little excessive at times, right? And then you're going to do a post when it's sold. Then you're going to do a happy 1-year home anniversary. Right? So, oh my gosh, I can't believe it was just a little over a year ago that my 2 favorite clients, Susie and John, purchased this beautiful home. So remember, on average, every listing should produce 2.6 buyer leads or buyers from that listing. That's why listings are so valuable. It's very hard to market and do a sneak peek for a buyer. couldn't put a t-shirt on him and be like, yeah, this is my buyer, John, sneak peek, we're working together. He's probably not going to let you do that, but you can do the house. You can do all the marketing for the house. So make sure you understand that. That's the value of this. Now, if you're not big on social and you're going, I don't know, that's not what I'm all about, then don't make a lot of money. It's a simple answer. Do what you want. Do what you've been doing. If you want to do it that way, that's fine. This is what the pros do to make sure that they get every drop of marketing out of that property. Okay. Now, and I see a lot of comments in the chat. Anything I should be addressing?
Yeah. We've got quite a few questions on. Let's start off with, so you talked about the pricing for staging, but let's talk about an average budget for marketing the listing. Do you set aside a certain amount of dollar allotment based on the list price of the home? Can you dive into that a little bit for us?
Absolutely, yeah. So with our system, we do almost everything exactly the same unless it's a luxury property. And for us, we determine a luxury property by $1 million or more. Now, you could determine it by whatever dollar amount you want in your market. I mean, some markets are very different. For us, it's $1 million or more. The only thing that changes on the two different levels of what we provide is video for the luxury market. We still do video on every property because it's a marketing tool. We just go a lot more intensive on the luxury properties. And then on our luxury properties, we do a different quality level of brochure. It's a custom brochure with big, 8.5 by 11 photos that are bound together that just look badass. I don't know what else to say. Then on our under $1 million, we just have general brochures. We use Express Docs. I've used Express Docs for the last 15 years. They're not the cheapest. They're not the most expensive. They're not the greatest. They're not the crappiest. They just get the job done, and they work well for what we do. And they've always been timely. You can get brochures in less than 24 hours. So if you screw something up with photography by accident, they can be there in a pinch and you can have them overnighted. So there's a lot of things that are delivery based that are important to us. So as far as a budget goes, as far as a set dollar amount, I never look at it like that. I look at it going, okay, when I take on a listing project, first of all, you're determining from the beginning with that seller what that commission is going to be. So that commission starts to establish my budget to a certain degree. So like I said, for extra things, let's say that on luxury, we're doing agent accompanied showings. Well, that means I have to staff it. I have to pay for it. Do I think that this home's going to sell in 3 weeks or 13 weeks? That's an estimate of all those things I'm going to have to think about in that budget. So it's kind of like the same way if a contractor came into your house and started to try to do a budget for your kitchen, they're going, it's going to cost me this, it's going to take this amount of time, and what am I going to make after it's all said and done? Here's kind of a golden rule that I want to make sure I share with everyone is you're not looking at an individual day-to-day budget, you're looking at a yearly budget of saying, I'm going to make X amount from my listing inventory. I need my expenses to be at X. And very simple, depending upon where you're at in your real estate business. If you're an individual agent, to make this just an easy number, then 10% should be going towards the marketing. If you're just brand new and you're trying to figure out how much you spend. So if you are, for every $1,000 you spend, you're going to be spending $100 to market that property. So if you think about it, you usually average listing, depending upon your location across the country, let's say that it's $10,000 to make it simple numbers, then you should be investing $1,000 in marketing of that property. 10% is the easiest golden rule to think about. Now, if you're wanting to make a name for yourself and splash, well, the more money you spend on the front side marketing that property, the better off you're going to be because you're going to have additional things that you can utilize on future listing appointments. So if you want to deck out an amazing listing video that's a $2,000 listing video, then do that if you really think it's going to set you up in the future. Now, if your listing is ugly, don't do that. Right? If it's a dumpster fire house, and again, if you live in Commerce City, just kidding, Commerce City people, I know, but no, the bad part of Commerce City, not the pretty part of Commerce City. If you live it's a bad, ugly house, don't try to spend too much on that property to try to market it. It's not going to do you much moving forward. You have to get it really understanding that the two things that sell real estate are what? Thank you, Tony. Price and time. I can
Price
see
and
her
time.
mouthing the exact words of that. Price and time. That's it. You have to understand that if I price it right, it will sell. And if I give that house enough time, it will sell. Everything else we do is a convenience to the seller that definitely adds layers to this. But you could be the worst, most ignorant real estate agent on earth and do the crappiest marketing. You price that property correctly, it will sell. Guaranteed. Every single time. You could do the most magical things on earth to that property, market the heck out of it, sprinkle on staging, beautiful things, come in and put fresh flowers in, do 16 broker open houses. If it's not priced right, it could still not sell for a year. So at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is price and time. All the time. Okay? What other questions, Anna?
Yeah, so let's stay on this topic just for a little bit longer. Now, I know you guide your clients to getting the property light, right, and smelling right. At what time do you pay for a cleaner?
Oh, as soon as yeah, it's a great question. Again, factoring in the budget. So regardless of the budget, what do I need to do to get this house sold? Okay. If we're in agreement on price and I know that they're priced at what I'm going to be pricing the property at, do I care if I pay for a $200, $300 cleaner? Not in the slightest. If I know that property is going to go under contract that weekend because of that cleaning. So it's all, for all of you, it's always a business decision. There's not a set black and white answer. Like I hear people go all the time. I go, what do you charge for commission? 6%. I go, well, what if there's different circumstances? Nope, it's 6% or they can suck it. And I'm like, well, that's gotta be interesting because there's variations to things that come up. And if your answer is suck it, it's hard to do a lot of these deals because we're always in every single transaction I'm on, it's an individual business decision at that moment. Every single one. Now, do we have strategies and things in place to do objection handlers and navigate this a lot smoother because of how we role play and practice these conversations? Of course, that lead us to a much higher level of conversion and a higher level of success. Absolutely. But every single second I'm in there, it's a complete decision on, if I do this, am I going to make enough on this to make it worth my time and build my resume and build my Zillow reviews and build my business? And am I going to get 2.6 buyers from this? So, because I'm not looking at it just going, this is where a lot of agents screw up, and it's a great question, is I'm looking at this as 3 transactions every time, not 1 transaction. So if I make, let's just say 5 on the listing, then I'm going to make another 7,500 on the buyer. I'm going to make another 7,500 on the second buyer. That's a package deal if I do everything correctly. Don't let a nickel hold up a dollar, right? Ever. That's the biggest mistake, okay? Now, if you go, I'm dead broke, I'm a brand new agent and I don't know how to make this happen, call mom, borrow money, call dad, borrow money, call uncle, borrow money, or join a team and they'll front the money and they take all the risk. That's the other way to do it, okay? What else, Anna?
That was it. Other than, can you talk a little bit more about, is there anything, why do you guys go with a state certified stager versus just Sally the stager off of Quebec?
Because which one sounds better?
Great, perfect.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason on earth. Remember, everything is a show, right? State certified just sounds better. If I had over, if hey, I've got this contractor, or he's a state certified GC, I'd go with the state certified, right? If I had the doctor, same thing, right? He went to medical school in Mexico, no offense to Mexico, or he went to Harvard, just sounds better. Just sounds better, right? So just, again, great question. It's just for presentation's sake. That's all it is. All right, cool. Let's carry on and we'll have plenty of time for more questions. And like I said, anything you guys are thinking, let me know because this is kind of an interesting topic. All right, so strategy 7. So what we're looking at here, again, is market the property with free and paid sources. We try to leverage as much free marketing as we possibly can. You see in the lower right-hand corner there, YouTube, 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 YouTube. It's your friend. It's your free. It's amazing. Now, if you decide not to do a listing video, you can still create your own video with still photos on YouTube and leverage that for search engine optimization and have that property on YouTube. You can literally go and do a YouTube video from your YouTube channel, walk through the property with your camera on your phone, and just have a fun, quirky one being like, this is my new listing at 123 Elm Street. It's got 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. Check out this view. What? It's amazing. And drop that video. Get out of your head that you have to be super pro. People love authentic. People love to just turn your phone around and just show them and be like, check out this fireplace. Check out this a countertop, whatever it might be. YouTube is your best friend because it's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forever. It's the best marketing with your name, contact info, website, all below. Everything below. And especially if you're using it and leveraging it in a particular high-rise or particular neighborhood that you're trying to market to and create as your farm, because then people go, wow, I'm interested in Acme Lofts. Okay, when they go to Google Acme Lofts, guess what shows up? Your YouTube video from 4 years ago, because now it's got 1,600 views because no one else did a video of any units in there. So leverage the free the best you can. So obviously Facebook and Instagram, activate the army, engage the algorithm. And what do we mean by engage the algorithm?
Yeah, so every platform has an algorithm, and that's just a fancy way of saying that the little computer spiders on the back end of our screen is evaluating your content, right? And so the way to activate the algorithm is to engage with others in order to receive engagement back and get out of your own head, engage in your own content. Right? If you put a post on, you should be the first person to like it. You should be the first person to add a comment and add a comment of value. Maybe the post was too long and you can take a little bit of that post and add it into the first comment. What that does is, let's say, for example, on Facebook, that activates the algorithm to say, this content's important. It's getting immediate engagement. We're going to show it to more people. Now, when he talks about activating the army, that means you should have like a crew of people that as soon as that listing goes live, you're letting them know that it is blasted on social media so that they can go like and comment on that post and help that algorithm continue to move your content above the fold on any platform you're on.
Absolutely. And it's beautifully said, Anna. Yeah, we're just trying to build a community. So have grandma on speed dial, let her know when you're putting that listing active and tell her you need her to like everything, share it, put a little heart next to it, write comments, all of that. When you post something on social, really only about 50 people on social ever see it. You think you have 4,500 friends, 33,000 friends, 2,200. No one sees it unless it's top of mind, and the algorithm thinks it's worth showing it to everyone. So we've got to crush it. Have your daughters, your wife, your boyfriend, your cousin, your grandma, your husband, everybody jump on that thing like it's the hottest thing out. It'll just get you so many more results from doing that. All right. All right. Set up for the weekend. So strategy 8. The best way to sell a lot of houses is to control your time. We talked about this a little bit earlier, right? So just an easy script. Hi, John, I'm looking forward to our open house extravaganza this weekend. I'll collect all the feedback from the showing and the open house and call you Monday morning at blank to discuss the details. At that time, we'll review any offers we receive. You heard me do it earlier. If we have multiple offers or if we don't have any offers at all, what we should do next. Okay, buy yourself the time. So this is on Friday, make sure. All right, strategy 9, get this thing out to everyone, get the low-hanging fruit, talk to your office. We have literally an office meeting every single week, and there's about the same 6 people that want to talk about their listings, and we have 250 agents. I'm like, I know we have more listings than this, but you're nervous, you're worried about getting in front of people, whatever it is. Guys, get over it. If you're worried about a bunch of goobers at your office meeting, you're worried about the wrong thing, right? I mean, come on. But the more people that know about this, the more likely you are to sell it and sell it quickly. Again, that's the value you're bringing to your sellers, okay? So again, activate the army. It's the best way to do it, okay? Strategy 10, create an experience, invite the neighbors, door knock, 7th level open house, Lux listing broker open. So now we're getting into how to really leverage yourself so you can get in front of as many buyers and sellers because you have this listing that's this beacon here drawing them in. All right. So when we talk about invite the neighbors, door knock, I'm going to show you a technique here that we use, what we call a 7th level open house, what we call also using a dialer and making open house calls. So here's the deal, right? I have a listing going active this week. It's Tuesday. I know I'm going to be doing the open house on Saturday or Sunday or both days, right? So if I'm looking at this strategy, I've got several days to do different things to market it. Number one, I'm going to make just listed / open house calls. This is where leverage and technology is your best friend. So if you're using the Coles directory, which we offer at our office for free, but you can get it for a cost. If you're using Mojo, RedX, any dialer that has the capacity to do a neighborhood search, you're going to search a radius of that home. Once you have the radius of that home and all the phone numbers, easiest call to make on earth. You're going to call up and you're going to say, hey, Tony, this is Brendan with the Bartic Group at Keller Williams Real Estate. Hey, if it's not your listing, if it's your company's listing, whatever, we just listed this gorgeous home at 123 Elm Street. It's got 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. And I'm going to be having an amazing open house extravaganza at the property this Saturday. I'd love for you to come by and judge the property and provide me your feedback on what you think this home should sell at and anything else you think we should do to the property to make it more sellable. It's going to be from 12 to 3. And also, Tony, in addition to that, we're going to be doing a can drive, a local can drive for the local food bank here because of COVID and it's been depleted. So if you have any canned food that you'd like to drop off during that time, I'll make sure it gets into the hands of the right people. Tony, are you going to be available to stop by between 12 and 3 on Saturday? Right? So now that's like breathing to me because I've made that call 4,000 times. Okay. But you just have to practice it. Now, are they going to be like, who are you? No, man, I don't even live here. What are you talking about? My house is in blah, blah, blah. Yes, you're going to have randos, right? And nothing is a perfect situation, but you're going to talk to, if you want to get 50, 60, 100 people at your open houses, that is the best place on earth to start. Then I saw a chat in there where it's asking how many doors should you knock? As many as you have time and physical energy to do. Nothing gives you a better reason to knock on somebody's door than you have a listing and you're helping them pick their new neighbor. Hey, I wasn't sure if you knew, but I just listed the home down your street at blah, 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 3 streets over, 4 streets over. It's gorgeous, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, blah, blah, blah. And then the thing I want you to get used to saying, now we know, Tony, when this property sells, and it is going to sell fast, probably this weekend, we're going to have a number of buyers that missed out on that opportunity. So Tony, if you were to move and it was the perfect situation, where would you go next and when would that be? I'm going to die in this home. All right, great. Have a good day. No, I'm just kidding. But 9 out of 10 are going to give you a time or something, or they're going to go, well, I don't know. I don't really think about it. Really? I mean, if it was a perfect situation, like maybe head down to Arizona, head to California, where's family at? Guys, it's a hustle. You're out here hustling, and that's how this works. If you're shy, you'll die. Let me be very clear. If you are shy, you will die in this business. Well, that's not true, Brendan. I sold 8 houses last year. Then you pretty much died. You didn't realize it. Okay. Yeah. Enjoy your family vacation at the Moose Lodge. Okay. I'm talking if you want to have an exceptional life, you want to fly first class, go to Europe one day because you've never been there because you haven't left the state. Whatever it is, right? We want to have these lifestyles. So get out of your head that it's okay to be average with 5, 7, 9, 15 sales. If you're here anyway, why not sell 50? Just put some thought into it. Okay. Cool. So now when we're leveraging that, whether we're door knocking, making phone calls, leveraging a charitable event, right? That's going to lead us into our next piece here, which is the full rundown of the 7th level open house or next level open house, if you will. Okay. So basic level 1, you put a sign in the yard. Level 2, sign in the yard and balloons and sign riders. Level 3, sign in the yard, same things. I'm not going to repeat that sign in the yard over and over. Next thing, directional signs at all major intersections. Okay. I've seen so many houses where I cannot find the house, open houses. That is a problem. Have signs everywhere. It's free marketing. Free marketing everywhere. Spend the $9 per sign, or I don't know how, they might be $19. Buy the most amazing directional and open house signs you can. Know that you're going to lose 5 to 7 a week because people are just going to jack them or throw them in the dumpster. But know that that's the best marketing on earth you can have. Okay. So flyers the week before, email invites and listing posted on all websites. So you want to get the leverage out of this coming soon. And I'm going to talk to you a lot about how to leverage a coming soon listing. Door knock, invite 100 neighbors minimum to the earlier question, right? So 50 doors left, 50 doors right, whichever way you're going, whatever your map is. Get on the phone that morning and remind everyone about the open house. Now, 2 pro tips I like to use for my open houses: Sly Broadcast and Easy Text. If you're not using both of these companies, look into them. Sly Broadcast, so I can leave a pre-recorded voicemail that'll bypass everybody's phone number and leave them an automated message. This is what I call wussy prospecting. If you're too scared to actually make the call and have the conversation, bypass their phone number, drop a Sly Broadcast. Now, again, as I stated, check your local laws, do not get arrested, don't call the do not call list. Everything I'm telling you is what I've heard, it's not what I do. So just make sure you check with your local attorney, managing broker, disclosure on that. Okay. Easy text. If I can blast text after I run the Kohl's directory, get a list of people, again, that are not on the do not call list, and then I can text them and let them know about my open house that morning, am I going to have more eyes and more engagement on my open house? For, I think it's a ½ cent per text message sent. A ½ cent. So you can send 100 for 50 cents, I think, something like that. I don't know if that's the right math, but it sounds like it. Okay. So leverage the tech to have an amazing experience. If you decide to do an open house Friday at 3 o'clock, put out 5 or 6 signs and are surprised why 4 people showed up, that's on you. Okay. And then host 4 open houses in the same area in various price ranges. So that's the last piece of this, is try to keeping that consistency if you can in that general area. So people go, wow, Connie is the lady when it comes to Highlands Range, you know, whatever, Schmorschen Gardens, whatever it is, right? She is the absolute master of this area because what are they going to say? I see your signs everywhere. Perception is reality. Okay. All right. Strategy 11. Provide effective showing feedback. Make a painless feedback form. Start with the most important questions and call agents after showing. So here's the thing. Please, 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 when you get showing feedback, do not ever give it directly to the seller. Your role in this is to every single, whoops, there we go. I was trying to get out of my stop share. Your role in this is to communicate effectively to a seller. So here's the pro tip. If someone gives you showing feedback and says, it's a beautiful house, it should sell in no time, do not ever provide that to the seller. They just had a showing, they didn't buy it. I'm glad that you have Captain Positivity as the agent on the other end. But if I send that to my seller, right, she's going to be like, oh man, we underpriced this thing. Yeah, she said it's going to sell fast. Oh, we're in a perfect situation. No offers come in 3 weeks. But she's still thinking, well, that one lady really thought it was sellable. What are you doing to not get it sold? So instead, call the agent and go, hey, I appreciate that feedback you sent over. So can I ask why your buyers didn't move forward with it? Oh, they thought the yard was way too small. Well, that's the feedback, right? Thank you, Positive Paula. But that's not what I needed. I need that feedback to tell my seller that the reason your buyer didn't move forward is because the yard is too small. So make sure you have to be a buffer of this, right? Don't set yourself up for failure because you're going to have to do a price improvement later at some point a lot of times. And they're going to be thinking about, well, remember those 2 people that said it was priced accurately or that it should sell fast?
From agents is, Jeff, I'm not on a team, so I don't have all the fancy.
Okay, I'll take that question. So sorry, I came in and out. I heard it was Jeff.
No, I think it was just someone on the phone. So no worries. We'll keep going.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, all I heard was he doesn't have a team and a fancy technology, even if you don't have this technology that's doing these types of things. So centralized showings, or what is it now, showing time feedback or whatever it is, and you're just manually talking to these people or getting email feedback, just make sure you're buffering it as best you can. Cool. All right. So we're getting into number 12. Ooh, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. So the number 12 strategy is you got to have drop it like it's hot Mondays, right? There's not a single week that goes by that I don't try to negotiate a price improvement on any listing I have, including the opening weekend Monday, right? This is the biggest thing. As I see people sitting there, even on my own organization, we'll have listings sitting there for weeks. And again, they'll go, well, you don't understand. She's just crazy. He won't do anything. Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare. Okay, then we got to start trying to have a tougher conversation. So every Monday from 11 to 12, or whatever time you designate in your real estate business, if your property didn't sell that previous weekend, you're going to call up and use the same script every single week or every single Monday. So you're going to call up and you're going to say, Katie, hey, it's Brendan. Hey, I got all the feedback from this weekend. Yeah, how are you? Good. Okay. How was your trip in Estes Park? Oh, I'm glad you guys got out of the house the first weekend. Thank you so much. Took all those Great Danes with you. That's great. Hey, I just wanted to follow up with you. So here's what happened over the weekend. We had 3 showings. Out of those 3, I spoke to all of them. No one at this point right now is looking to make an offer. Everybody said that they really enjoyed, always start with a positive, blah, blah, whatever, this isn't it. Now, if it's a dumpster fire house, do your best, right? But they really loved the lot size. They loved this. Their concern was, I kept hearing over and over again that they just felt that the kitchen and some of the other things weren't as upgraded as some other properties they saw that weekend. So at this point, Katie, we have 3 options, okay? And we're going to give you this script. Option number 1, we can do nothing and hope and pray a buyer comes along and purchases the property. Number 2, Katie, we can improve the property, meaning that we could add more value to the home to make it a greater value in the eyes of the buyer. So we can hopefully produce a buyer that's willing to make an offer. Or number 3, we can do a price improvement today to guarantee that we'll attract more buyers to the property that'll move forward with making an offer. What would you like to do today? That's it. Now, if you join us for role play every Thursday at 12 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, we'll go through all of their rebuttals. Well, we want to improve the property. We'll talk about that. We won't want to do anything. We just want to keep waiting. We can talk about that. But that script will put a framework to make it a conversation where you're not telling them what to do. You're providing them options and you're a consultant to allow them to make a decision. Of course, we're guiding all the time towards price improvement because obviously we know price affects this more than anything else all the time. But we can talk about the other techniques. Now, if you also heard on the showing feedback that somebody didn't like this, somebody didn't like that, you can obviously communicate those things at that time. You just have to frame it in the right way to make sure you're being careful on not offending anyone. All right, so drop it like it's hot Mondays. Make sure you're doing that every Monday. All right, be honest. This is huge. I see people, again, just tiptoeing around in their real estate career, not being straight up with people. Make sure you're communicating why things aren't happening, what needs to be done, and always just come from a place of honesty saying, this is what I would do if it was my own property. That's all I think about all the time. All right. And then lastly, we just talked about this script. So we don't adjust or reduce, we just improve the price. So when we're looking at doing price and improvements, if you want this script, go to brendanbartic.com, download our entire script book. It's got all of my scripts, my 50 favorite objection handlers, everything in there that'll hopefully improve your overall real estate business. But just get into the practice. If this doesn't sound like you, then get at least understanding the 3 options and make it sound like you. But until then, just do it like this. It's a lot easier. Okay, so just a lot easier to do it like that. All right. So be ready for objections. The last piece here is I do want to cover some objection handlers. So here's the thing, right? Let's just try 475 and see what happens. Okay. So when we hear pricing objections, remember, if we know that truly in our heart of hearts, what sells a house, price and time, I don't see agents practicing enough on pricing conversations. Okay. And we haven't had to the last 2 years, right? We haven't had to because of where the market's at. But here's the thing. I'm still seeing this situation where if a property in this kind of market right now is on for more than a week, you did something wrong in that pricing. You're going, oh, well, Brendan, that just takes the right buyer. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Right now, you want to look like the hero. Do you think any seller on earth is going to be upset with you that you had multiple offers on a Monday? Or are they going to be less impressed with you if it took a week in the hottest real estate market on earth for you to even get an offer? Be tough on your conversations. So when we look at this, so we have got different pricing objections here. I completely understand your goal is to net the most money. So they say, I want to do 475 and see what happens. If we increase the price 5% over market value, we're going to lose almost 30% of the interested buyers, and you do want to net the most money possible. In your career as a real estate agent, please embed into your vocabulary, your goal is to net the most money possible, correct? I probably say it 100 times a week. I probably said it 100,000 times. I appreciate that, Anna. No matter what it is. I get it. You want to hope and pray that a buyer shows up, but let me ask you again, your goal is to net the most money possible, correct? Yes, of course it is. Then here's what we need to do. It always comes back to that. Your goal is to net. Okay? So 2 other agents told me they could have no problem selling at my price, right? So, well, what that means is that an agent will tell you any price possible to get a signed listing agreement. When they list your home at above market value and beat you up week after week, asking to lower the price, the problem is after the first couple of weeks, people viewing the home will think that with all the price reductions that were completed, something's wrong with the property. This means you're exposing yourself to even lower offers. You do want to net the most money possible, correct? Then let's do the right thing and list it at this, or adjust the price to this. So let's break for just a second. Remember back to the 3 options. Here's what they're always going to ask you. Fine, Brendan, fine. All right, we'll adjust the price. Okay. What do you want to adjust it to? Well, John, it's not what I think or what I want to adjust it to. It's what the market's telling us, right? So we're listed at 500,000 right now. The next adjustment that we would want to make is to 450,000. 450,000? Are you out of your effing mind? I will die in this house before I give it away at 450. Okay, John. I can appreciate that. Then, John, what number do you think we should adjust it to make a big enough impact to draw buyers' attention to your property? I'd be fine going to 495. John, we're listed at 500. So let me just make sure I'm clear on this. We're listed at 500. You want to reduce the property $5,000. John, do you think if somebody was interested in your property that they would have made an offer at 495? It's always just this calm conversation all the time that tries to lead to reality. Now, the reason I went to 450 is because I'm trying to close a gap of getting to a 475 number. If I would have started at 475, I would have ended up at 485, 490. Go with the bigger number, get the bigger scream out of the way. Then every step you get closer to 500 is that much easier. Or excuse me, to the number that will, the 475 or what number you actually want is that much easier. Weeks. And some of you right now are going, this I could care less about. I can, whatever it is. Think about this. I really want you to be clear. You get paid an exorbitant amount of money to price homes and then leverage the marketing from that home to produce more interest in your business to create more sellers and more buyers. That's your job. That's how you sell a lot of homes. Brendan, I got in this just to help people. Are you helping me if it takes 3 weeks for my house to sell and I'm getting bottom feeders? Are you helping me when I'm on the market for 3 weeks? I have 6 kids, 2 Great Danes, and every day I'm having a nervous breakdown because I can't coordinate my house trying to keep my damn bathroom clean? You're not helping anyone. Get out of your head and make sure you understand they're hiring you to sell the property. That's what they're hiring you for. Okay? Be very clear on what your objectives are. All right? So, offer accepted. This is the last one that we're going to talk about today. And this is the one that I know is going to leave you really, really pissed off at me. Right? And that's okay. I'm okay with it. I never, ever, ever, ever allow my sellers to counter. Ever. If my seller counters, I just had to present a new offer to the buyers and hope and pray that on some good luck that they're going to accept it. But Brendan, isn't it our job to negotiate for our sellers? Can you show me where it says that in your seller listing agreement? Oh, and for all of you that went to negotiating school, can you tell me what school you graduated from in negotiation? I have yet to see that degree. Now, you may be a hostage negotiator or you read the book, that's different. I watch agents lose deals every single day because they countered an offer over a washer and dryer, over $6,500, over a trampoline. You have to try, and I'm not saying it's always perfect, right? I'm not saying it's always going to happen, but your goal in this is to be a consultant and advise your clients. There is so much risk involved in us countering this offer. It's not like we're at the flea market bidding on a $5 used Game Boy, right? Like, it's not like that. It's a $500, $700, $1 million. Again, I'll give this final story in closing, then we'll go to questions for the last few minutes here. You know, I just had a property and I talk about it all the time. Sellers wanted to list it at 3.9 because that's what Zillow said, 3.9 million. Listed it at 3.5, offer comes in at 3.3. They wanted to counter it at 3.450. I go, we just found a buyer that wants to buy your $3.5 million house, and you want to counter over $150,000. Now think about the percentage on that amount, right? When we're talking about percentages, it's ridiculous to think about that. Of course, I didn't explain it to them that way. I gave them options. Here's my concern. Your goal is to net, getting really good at these pricing conversations. They accepted the offer. Found out from the seller, from the buyer, if we wouldn't have accepted that offer, they were going to walk. They had no desire to play around. They were just those types of people. That's all I want to make sure you understand. It could be thousands of dollars at risk, thousands and thousands of dollars at risk. So anywho, let's close this out and then I'll open it up to any last questions that you have. Well, closing techniques, sorry, and I forgot we had this extra piece here. So closing gift, add past client to mailing campaign, put on home search once a month for their neighborhood, and follow-up call 30 days after closing. Remember, a lot of the marketing is after the follow-up. And what I'm really calling to do is go, yo, where is my 5-star review? And where is my referral for somebody looking to buy or sell real estate? And I keep calling and calling every 30 days until they would deliver on their promise, because their word, they gave me their word. And I'm going to make sure I'm following up on that. All right. So now, education or knowledge without action is stupidity. So think about, what are you going to do today to put some of these things into place? You might not be able to do all of them. You might not even want to do, a couple of them, but make sure you have at least one thing that you're thinking about that you're going to put into action today. I would love to see that piece in the chat box as we open this up to questions. So what's one thing you're going to implement that you weren't doing before? All right. So again, from Brendan Bartic Real Estate Coaching, I am Brendan Bartic. Thank you so much for joining us.